Hey everybody, this is Natalie. Welcome back to my channel. If you are watching this video, you have either torn your hamstring off your pelvis, or you're one of my subscribers, my handful of subscribers that that watches my camping videos, and hopefully I will get back to making those this fall or winter. So, and apologies either way that you're here watching this video. Okay, so the reason I wanted to make this video is because I've been to some of these online groups. I thought it may be very beneficial to post a video about my experience with hamstring avulsion surgery, my recovery, in hopes that it can help other people. And just to give maybe the perspective of someone who didn't have the ultimate linear recovery, the upward trend. There were a lot of ups and downs along the way, and I think a lot of people have that, but sometimes if you read one person that had this amazing experience, it may be discouraging. So I want to encourage everybody that is going through this and hopefully have some things that can help them. Okay, so I tore my hamstring off my pelvis almost 2.5 years ago. Playing tennis, I went wide and deep for a tennis ball, and my knee hyperextended and it snapped my hamstring right off my pelvis. And it was, I knew I had torn something. So I got in with a PA that day. It wasn't the one that I usually go to, but they just sent me home saying it's probably a muscle injury. Follow up with your orthopedic doctor if you're still having issues. And then a week later, I was still having issues, so I went to the orthopedic doctor of the PA of my orthopedic doctor, and he was able to palpate the area and tell. He had his thumbs on both ischial tuberosities of each leg, and he could tell that one was missing a hamstring. So that's one way to tell. And the reason I'm letting you know that is because if you are at the doctor's office or the PA and you feel like they're just kind of sending you away, but you ripped your hamstring off, ask them to do that, because timing is very important with this injury. And you want to get it treated as soon as you can. I didn't have any bruising either. Even like a week later, I didn't have this red and purple that a lot of people have. I had 2 little mini bruises behind the knee and then some yellowing up at top. And I'll post some pictures at the end of the video. So I got an MRI that week too, and then I got a few days later. I got a call from my orthopedic surgeon, who I've been going to him for 22 years, and he's absolutely amazing. Love him to bits. He's helped my family out in so many ways over the years. So I'm very grateful that I already had a trauma surgeon that I knew, because you want to go to a trauma surgeon for this kind of injury. And when he called, he didn't say, "Oh, you need to get surgery." He left the ball kind of in my court to see, giving me the outcomes that I would expect from not having the surgery and from having the surgery, and let me make my decision that way. And it almost sounded like he wasn't going to do the surgery, and that kind of made me a little bit afraid, because I knew from talking to him I did want to do the surgery, and I asked him what would he do, and he said, "Yes, you're very active. I would do the surgery, so you could expect to get 90% of the strength back in your leg." And that sounded great. And he said if I didn't have the surgery, it could be that the tendon would attach to the sciatic nerve with scar tissue, and that would cause a lot of pain down the road, and I would also lose a lot of strength in that leg. So we had the surgery scheduled for 15 days after the initial injury. Now, I had a 5-centimeter retraction. My fluid pocket was intact, and I also it was a complete avulsion, and I tore a partial tear of this obturator internus muscle. So when I landed, I didn't put my hands out, because I know that you could potentially break a wrist. So I used a high block, and it was my descent to the ground was so violent that even with this, I still hit my head on the clay. So, and I have shoulder issues, which my clavicle is in a lot of pain often. So it's on a long list of things I need to get fixed. Okay. It's not the top right now, but anyway, so we had the surgery, and then the surgery went great. It was, I didn't have any ill effects from the surgery, no infections, the attachment was good. And I recommend before you, if you know you're getting the surgery, do your research. Look at research articles, watch some videos on YouTube if you're not squeamish. I'm not squeamish. And, when you watch these videos, you kind of think these surgeons had to choose at some point. Do they want to be an orthopedic surgeon or do they want to be a serial killer? Because or maybe Bob the Builder. I don't know. The tools that they use for this is very very involved. Okay, and then reading some of these articles, the complication rate from the surgery is pretty high, like anywhere between up to like 24-25%. So I kind of expected to come out looking like a Picasso painting after this. But I didn't. Not quite. No, the surgery went very good, and I'm very pleased with it. So I can say that at 2 years, and I'm almost, like I said, I'm almost 2.5 years, and I realized like a month and a half ago that I can't tell that I had surgery on this leg. Like I feel normal. And it just kind of hit me because even until earlier this year, from like November last year until May, I was having traveling nerve pain from the incision area down. And at the time that started, it was soon after my hydraulic desk at work broke. So, and I didn't think anything about it. I wasn't getting up as much as I should have getting up. So I had compression. And flossing the nerve did not help it, but what did help it was stretching the nerve. So I went to several PTs, and then lastly went to a chiropractor, and he kind of showed me how to do that, and that was immediate. So I had, like, within 2 weeks, the pain was completely gone. But those are some things I will talk about. So 1 week after my surgery, after I had my 1 week follow-up with my orthopedic doctor, I wrecked my knee scooter. I wasn't braced. I had a knee scooter. And it was great because I can get around in the house. But coming home from that visit, my wheel of the scooter went off the parking pad of our driveway. And I knew I was going to fall. And I didn't want to fight it because if I tried to fight it, then I would have a much worse outcome. So I went with it. I leaned in with my shoulder, flipped over, and I crashed through our picket fence. We have this white picket fence, and it was the most magnificent sound I've ever heard. It's just like it sounds in the movies. So it was spectacular. And I played that sound over again. That's just what a beautiful sound it was. But so I did twist my knee when I did that, but I felt like my hamstring was fine. And if you watch those videos, they actually pull the people up by their sutures. So it's a very strong, just to make sure that the anchors are in there and it's a strong attachment. So I wasn't concerned that I hurt my hamstring, but I did not call my doctor and tell him because I was too afraid to tell him. I did tell him at my 6-month visit, 6-week visit, and he was as mortified as I thought he would be. He looked very disappointed, and I felt so bad because I don't want to take for granted this wonderful surgery that he did. And, this kind of inspired me to make changes in my lifestyle and to lose weight and take better care of myself and value my mobility a lot more. So, but one thing I will tell you, after you complete the bulk of your physical therapy, you need to be vigilant about scar tissue and any nerve pain. So you cannot let those fester. You have to get them under control when they pop up. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot more problems. Also, you'll be able to distinguish between good nerve pain and bad nerve pain. As you are healing, when you're starting out, you'll feel cool. Sometimes the nerves will feel cool back there, and that's good. For me, that was a good nerve pain. It was neurons, maybe neurons making connections or something. But if it turns burning or radiating, those are bad pains. So you want to, maybe discuss that with someone, either a physical therapist, chiropractor, your physician, if you're still under care of your surgeon. Just watch out for those because after 6 months, between 6 months and a year and a half after my surgery, I would go to a musculoskeletal therapist in the next town over, and he would do manual therapy, scar tissue management, and he was a practitioner of this Eric Dalton technique, and I could not have gone through the surgery without him. The service he provided was so valuable, and it can't be stressed enough when you're going through this. If you're not finding the right help with the people that you do have, look around for other people. You have to use all your resources to deal with this, and it's mentally and physically challenging. You will be exhausted some days and you just don't feel like, but you got to get your ass up and tackle this. That's all you have to do, or you will be in a world of pain. I think my outcome has been really good. It just took a lot longer than other people may have. Your age matters. I'm over 50. Okay, so things are happening a little bit slower at this age. Just give it time. And if you have any questions, leave your questions in the comments, and hopefully I can get to those. My next video will be about physical therapy. So I wanted to speak a little bit about any limitations that I have. And right now I don't feel like I have limitations. I may have mentioned my goal is to protect and strengthen. That is kind of my mindset for the gym these days. And I am able to do everything I want to do, and some things that I didn't think I'd be able to do. So I'm very pleased with that. So right now I'm playing tennis. I am hiking. I'm doing cycling on the Greenway. I just got back from a canoe trip in eastern North Carolina. It was a 4-hour drive there, and then I spent another 3.5 hours in the canoe paddling to my campsite on one of the platforms in the swamp. And I was by myself too, so I did not have help. So my shoulder is wrecked. So I gotta get that fixed. But that was a lot of sitting, and then I came back the next day, so that's another actually only took 2 hours to get back down the river because I didn't have any wind blowing at me. And then the drive home was also a little bit shorter, but I never thought I'd be able to do that. And on the canoe you can't really move too much. I would get up, stretch a little bit, but it was physically, it took me days to recover from that. And I think today is the first day where I feel like my body is somewhat normal. Let's say I got back on Friday, so that was really hard to do. But I do have a workout schedule. I do 2 to 3 times a week at the gym, and right now it involves mostly weightlifting. So I do heaviest on my legs. I don't do heavy on the upper body because it's not ideal for tennis to take on. I don't want to invite injury either, so I'm just doing basic stuff on my upper body, but on my lower body, my calves, those can take a lot of weight. I actually went down in weight because I felt like could be inviting trouble if I continued to go heavy on my calves. So right now my heaviest lift is my glutes. So I do 177-pound hip thrusts. I'm also doing kind of the 45-degree extensions. And the machine that I'm doing that on is by the Glute Builder, and it has a foot plate, so you can also hold your knees are bent in a 45-degree angle so that you're focusing on the glutes. I'm doing RDLs, I'm doing leg extensions for quads, I'm doing leg curls for hamstrings, and I'm doing eccentric phase loading for my hamstrings every gym visit because that helps me temper the tendonitis that I have in my contralateral leg and the tendinosis. I don't feel the tendinosis anymore. Now, having said that, I'm not doing lifts with my hamstrings in the lengthened position. I might be able to add those back at some point. I could try doing a deadlift maybe just to see how that goes, but I haven't. I tried starting off doing that after I finished up with physical therapy, and I was having pain, not pain during my workout, but soreness at the proximal site after my workout. So I thought, and that's where the tendinosis came into play. So I thought, let me just leave those off for now, and I'll focus on hamstrings in the shortened position, and I'm fine with that. So, but that is basically my workout right now. So that is good. I used to do mountain biking before. I haven't done that yet since I've had my surgery. I'm not sure if I want to. I do have knee issues. So I've had PRP injections in each knee, and those have turned out really good. So I have just mild knee OA in my knees, and injections have helped those a lot. So I don't want to, I'm kind of metering my activities in that respect. I had to take the whole body into account. So it's not just about the hamstring, about everything I have. So anyway, I hope that helps. And the next video that I'm going to post is about physical therapy. All right.